And we are live. What is good, everybody? This is your boy Dark Star Menace, and I'm back with episode of comics, anime, and nerd shit. Today I got my guest Johnny D on the line. What's going on, bro?
Hey man, how you doing?
Hey, you know me, man. Same shit, different day, bro. So today is gonna be a little bit of a different episode, man. Normally I like to talk about shit going on with comic books and stuff, and with anything going on with anime, nerd shit, but this is kind of just something that I've been kind of seeing going through, making the rounds this week, and it's just a little bit of it to me is I get it, but it's retarded. You know what I mean, Johnny?
Right.
Yeah. So like, so I mean, if anybody don't know, man, y'all probably already know, and y'all probably been seeing it all over YouTube, all over social media. It's been beaten like a dead horse. Apparently the new Ariel in The Little Mermaid is black. Now, I know a lot of people take issues with it because they're like, oh, they're race bending the character and stuff. Which I mean, I mean, you're right in a sense. They're right in a sense, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, at this point, who really gives a shit? I don't know. I mean, how you feel about it? Be honest, Johnny. How you feel about it?
Well, I mean, there's a few different aspects to this, and I feel like it kind of needs to be backed out a little bit because I think in in life and like especially if you were to ever watch like those gangland things and you start talking about the white uh, race based gangs, it's usually somebody who's picking on something that's real going on in their situation and kind of feeding on that and building it up, and that's how they get these young kids to go join in these gangs,
Yeah.
and I feel like that this internet racism thing tends to do that the ones that get the most furor behind it is like there's usually a legitimate criticism, and people like Tommy Lauren, people like um, Ben Shapiro, these types, they'll get this and they'll push it to the front of their argument as a facade for all this racist stuff behind it. And I feel like the bigger the argument and all this blows up to, it's usually because the facade is all the better. You know what I mean? And that's what allows people to just stack their racism behind it. And I feel like there's a strong argument to be made against race bending of this particular character. But I also feel like people are using that facade, that reasonable argument that people like you and me might make, and they're hiding all this just disgusting hate behind it. And it's like, we can't ignore that hate.
Yeah.
Um, just because they're on our side of the argument, like you're still the fucking enemy, you're still the bad guy. Your thoughts and your points of views are disgusting.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And like honestly, I think kind of with this Little Mermaid thing, like I kind of like I kind of had a now I kind of have a different tone behind it, just for the simple fact that all that shit that I saw on fucking Facebook, and I did pin the link. I pinned the link in the chat. Hey, what's going on, Chef Ron? Salute, bro. Salute. Yeah, when I saw those fucking memes, like, here's my thing. Normally, like, I laugh at dark humor. I like dark humor, and you know this. You know this, John D. You know I like dark humor just as much as
Right.
everybody else. But that shit went too far. All those fucking memes in there went too far. Where it went as far as like somebody fucking having a doing like blackface saying, "Oh, I'm getting ready for a fucking Little Mermaid," and
Right.
then you had that one fucking person turn around doing a little silhouette of Ariel with fucking
In
chains saying the little
chains.
slave. Like, like what the fuck, man?
And
Like,
I'll tell you, here's the thing. It's not like it can't be made funny. Here's a funny one, right? Is they have an old picture of Ariana Grande, and it's like Ariana Grande used to look like the Little Mermaid, and then they have one of her now with like the spray on
Yeah,
tan and
I saw
everything,
that
and
one.
it's like Ariana Grande now looks like the Little Mermaid. That's
Yeah,
fucking funny.
yeah, I saw
Uh,
that one. That was kind of
but
funny. And then there was like another one that I saw where you know how with the fonts it said Ariel and it was the original Little Mermaid. It said Ariel Black, then it was a black Little Mermaid, and it said Ariel Bold, and it was a fat Little Mermaid. Like, and this is my thing. Like, if you're gonna make memes, at least make it tasteful. Don't make it to where like you're just being a fucking dick. Where you're just basically just showing. It's basically like it's like let's say I'm a racist without saying I'm a fucking racist.
right,
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't even like to fucking you know how I am. I don't like to throw that fucking card out. You know me. I don't like to turn around and make that assumption that people are fucking racist, people are fucking sexist. All right, I don't like to do none of that shit. You know how I am. I like to give people benefit of the doubt, but with that shit, no, I can't give you a pass on that. I can't let you walk on that one.
yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
it kind of reminds me of like during the Obama years when like there was plenty of legitimate arguments to be made about the way he was handling things, but really the media just kept focusing on anything he did that was him being remotely black, and it was just like the people who were against him on the internet were just some of the most racist individuals posting just all kinds of awful shit, and it's just like it was one of those things where you choose to you choose to step right over very obvious and genuine criticism just to walk straight into racism. So it's
Yeah,
like it's
and
very easy to point that fucking finger because you're just being racist. Like you
yeah,
just
and that
sidestepped all of the bullshit and went straight into
yeah.
it. I'm like, dude, like what the fuck?
Yeah, and that's why, like, when some people do call out racism, that's why sometimes I say a lot of time, no, that all you're doing is it's just a fucking shield. You're just shielding from a legit criticism, But with the Little Mermaid, this new Little Mermaid, I have my issues, and it has nothing to do. And the funny part with my issues with the movie, it has nothing to do with Ariel being black. Like, that's not even like an issue for me in this one. Like, I actually have some legit criticism with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, for example, I think one criticism I have is like just kind of the CGI, like just one of the parts with the CGI with how they did her tail and stuff like that. It was kind of like they took away from her freaking curves. That's one thing. And then when I kind of saw like the cast, I noticed they added a handful of new fucking characters into this shit, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna be too good. But then again, and it's something that I actually had to think about at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it goes like this, man. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news with this one. This movie ain't for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not for us. So that's what I find it really funny, like how a bunch of people like have some shit to say about it. Because it's like, at the end of the day, this movie was made for the kids. You know? It's made for the kids, man. So that's why, like, I'm not even freaking tripping over this too much. Hey, too cool. Salute, brother. Salute. B Man the Killer. Hey, what's going on, brother? What's going on? But yeah, like I said, this movie's for the kids, man. It's not for us. And that's why, like, when it comes to like all the like backlash and all the hate that it's getting, I'm just kind of like at this point. Well, I think is when it comes to like a lot of the kids movies, we should just leave it the fuck alone. Because let's be honest, we all know it's not going to be better than the original. Like, no remake is going to be better than the original, which also another issue I have is Disney needs to stop doing the fucking remakes.
Right, which is a whole facet to this argument too.
Yeah, like, bro, like,
Because to me, like there's multiple, faces, and you can talk about each one wholly. And like one thing I am gonna say is I really don't think that Snowetta is gonna do anywhere near as well
nope.
as this, because honestly the Hispanic community is super cynical, and I don't know. I think the Black and Hispanic communities are very similar in a lot of ways, but they're also
Yep.
very different in a lot of
Yep.
ways. And Black people are very quick to embrace everything Black versus Hispanic people are just super cynical about everything, and you
Yep,
have to do shit right for them to give a fuck about it. And
very true.
I think a lot of people, a lot of Hispanic people, are going to roll their eyes at this one. And
Yeah, I kind of see them doing that because it's kind of the same thing that happened when Amazon tried to do Cinderella with Camila Cabello in that movie. That shit got fucking destroyed. It got fucking destroyed. Not just for the simple fact that it was a Latina playing freaking Cinderella, but it was also the fact that they completely tried to do this whole woke shit where it was like Cinderella basically was trying to they were trying to pull that whole trope with, oh, she doesn't need a fucking man and all that crap. Like,
mm,
it's like, if you're gonna really change that whole point of the story, what's the point of you even doing a fucking do a movie about a fairy tale character in the first fucking place if you're gonna change the one thing that makes the fairy tale a fucking fairy tale? You know what I mean?
right.
Like, it's like it's my thing. Like, if you're gonna make subtle changes to a remake, okay, cool, cool. But when you fucking make drastic fucking changes, hell no. And then, oh, also speaking of the whole thing with race bending the princesses, here's what I'm gonna say too. Also, it's funny how we have all this energy for the Little Mermaid, but we don't have this same energy. We didn't have the same energy when Brandy played Cinderella. I mean, where's the outrage with that shit? Um,
Well, Brandy is
I'm
also
waiting on the
Brandy.
outrage on that because because that's how I look at it. Like, if we're gonna have that energy for Cinderella, we need to keep the same energy. We've had the energy for Little Mermaid. We got to keep the same energy for Cinderella.
Well, I also think too that the some of this comes down to like this repeated trend of pandering. Like, look at the that
Yep.
failed 007 attempt. Like
Ooh,
when they
yeah.
did this with Brandy, she was like, it was new, it was fresh, it was for that time.
And it was
This had
actually really good too.
and it wasn't a horse that had been beaten to death, which is what we're
Yeah,
starting to approach.
yeah, that is
And
true. That's
and
about.
also, I've been seeing this go around. This is something that kind of everybody keeps making the argument of you were okay with it when it was this, but now you're not okay with it. And the list of things that they have are shit that I think most people can agree aren't okay. Like, I remember on one list, it's like you were okay when Goku was white. I was like, hold the
No, no
fuck
one
on.
was okay with this. What the
Nobody was
fuck?
okay with that. And like
No.
most people, to me, the most accurate I think Jesus I've ever seen of any portrayal is probably from the cartoon Bless the Hearts. The little thing that would come to the mural that would come to life off the wall and talk to her when she was alone at night cleaning the restaurant. Like,
Um,
that to me was like one of the most accurate Jesuses I've seen. And so it's like, don't point to all these clearly bad taste things as your example of why this is okay. Like, this is your example of why
yeah.
it's not okay. And also, I'm tired of everything's about culture and heritage and blah blah blah, but all these old stories are Germanic stories, and so we should be trying to think of like, how do we go to Europe, look at the culture there, and how to bring that to life in a new way instead of just gluing somebody else's culture to it. And
Yeah, with that part, yeah, I'm gonna. I'll agree to that. I can agree to that too because I mean that's what tends to happen a lot. Is that we want to try to say, oh, we're blessed, we're trying to embrace our culture, but at the same time, it's like when we try to do our spin on fairy tales, we also have to remember that like the dude that came up with a lot of these fairy tales was Danish.
right,
Yeah, Hans Christian Andersen was Danish. So when we're talking about culture, you gotta keep in mind, Danish is a culture too. We can't turn around and just say like, oh, because someone's white, they don't have culture. That's bullshit. Everybody has culture. Well, no matter what country you come from, no matter what neighborhood you were raised in, you have some type of culture. All right, because it's not just because one thing people fuck up is that when it comes to culture, they narrow it down to like just like let's say somebody's like country or something. No, culture can be broken down deeper than that. Like when I'm in the military, like being in the military, that's a culture. Being around like people in my neighborhood, that's a culture. Being around a bunch of African American people that I hang around with, that's a culture. Hanging in the Latino community, that's a culture. There's a culture in every different place you go to, every different walks of life. So it's like when we try to say this whole thing about, oh, we're trying to embrace our culture, but at the same time you're shitting on that other person's culture. So it's like, what the fuck are we even arguing with this whole thing with the Little Mermaid? You know what I mean? As we can try to turn around and say, oh, we're trying to throw black culture, we're trying to throw, African American culture on it, but at the same time, you're taking away from someone else's culture. You get what I mean? So
Also, I feel
yeah,
like there's going like this. I think good segue into the remake thing is like because they're doing all these remakes. It's like one eventually you're gonna run out, and it's like
yeah,
what then? And I feel like you have the ability to just tell badass news stories. And one thing is like if you think about it, a lot of this stuff is built on like old mythos and things like that. And there's a lot of things that have been really dug into, like the Norse and the Greek mythology and all that. But there's
yeah,
stuff that's less gone into, like recently when they did Batman, Wonder Woman, Brave and the Bold. They really got into Irish stuff, and they went into the land of Tir na Nog, and that was
yep,
something that was less explored. And I'm like, and you kind of saw where Gargoyles did it back in the day when they kind
yep,
of explored, because everybody thinks Elisa is Hispanic. She's actually half black, half Native
yeah,
American.
yeah.
And
I was gonna say that, bro. I was like, no, Elisa's not Latina, man. She's half black, bro. What the fuck?
yeah, but so like they explore the some of the Native American stuff with like the Coyote Trickster God, and then they
Yeah.
explore the Quinsu, who was actually voiced by Mr. Reading Rainbow,
Oh, LeVar
LeVar
Burton. Yep.
LeVar Burton, and the actual Quinsu, because like everybody knows who Quinsu Ocha is, White Devil, but Quinsu doesn't actually mean devil; he's a trickster god. And
Ah.
so like there's a lot of rich African stuff. Like I didn't know playing Legend of Zelda growing up that the rock's feather is an African thing, that the rock is a giant bird
Hmm.
from African mythos. And so I'm like, how much fucking African mythos do we not know about? And
That's fair.
what fairy tales can we make from this? And
Exactly, and that goes to my. Go ahead. I'm sorry, because you're gonna make me segue into another point right now. But go ahead, man.
but like especially I was gonna say there's this great story that Dave Chappelle tells about, I forget what they're called, but basically they're the story keepers in the village, and as he's telling the story, it means all this great stuff, but like I'm thinking in terms of how I always think nerd stuff, and I'm like, dude, this is basically a Black Merlin. Like if you were to add a little bit of mysticism to what he's saying, if you were to add just a little bit of magic and fantasy to it, he's basically describing a Black Merlin. And I was just like, what? How much fucking stories can be told in that if somebody just looks to that for that kind of um, stuff? And so I'm like, Disney, do something new. Don't. And some of these remakes are cool because let's not shit on the fact that they're trying to bring a Black Cauldron to life and
Hmm.
stretch it back out. That I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh,
But
before I even get to my point, one thing I gotta point out, man. Am I the only one that feels like the Jungle Book remake was the best remake out of all the
yes,
Disney remakes? Okay. All right. I
yeah,
just had to put that out there. I had to put that out there, man. I had to put that out there.
because like most of them fall under the okay category, or really like I think the Tarzan one came in as not good. Um, Beauty and the Beast was okay. Dumbo okay. Aladdin okay.
I
Like
hate it. Like Aladdin, that one was a letdown for me. That was a huge letdown for me.
they're gonna put that in the bad category.
I mean, you could put it wherever you want, but for me, it was a letdown. Like I had high expectations for it, and it was set mid. So I would say it's only okay because for me, I set my bar, I set my expectations way too high with that one. I never saw the Tarzan one, but fucking let's see, Cinderella was trash. That was fucking trash. Let's just be honest. Lion King was a huge letdown.
Yeah, which it sucks because it came from the same guy. You think he would have been able to bring that same kind of remake magic, but he just didn't. He didn't get it right.
Yeah, like
John
and it,
John Favreau.
yeah, and what made it worse, you know what's also what makes adds insult to injury, man, is they even brought back James Earl Jones to do fucking Mufasa, and you would have thought it would have held some of the magic, but it was just still trash. You know what I'm saying? Like it was still fucking trash.
Oh, Pete's Dragon was good.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't
I
seen that
saw
one
that. I saw it in theater, and then I saw it again on Disney Plus, and I enjoyed it both
yet.
both times. Yeah, Pete's
Yeah,
Dragon was good.
yeah, and like I said, I get why they do the remakes too. I get it because they're trying to make it for the newer generation of kid, for the newer generation. But at the end of the day, I just got done telling my girl this in the car. Yeah, I think I told her this yesterday or today. But it's at the end of the day, you can keep doing these remakes all you want, but it'll never ever capture the magic of the original. Because at the end of the day, the originals were about having fun. These new ones are more about trying to push it, or more about trying to do inclusion, and you're trying to make it reflect how reality is. And like I told my girl the other day, like I told my girl this morning, like when you try to make like a story like with fantasy, comic books, in anything that you're trying to create a story on, and then you try to base the environment on real life, it's not gonna hit. It's not gonna hit for the simple fact that when people turn around and watch these movies or read these books, they're trying to escape from real life. And when you start throwing elements of actual things that happen in real life, that's not gonna draw people to that said product. All you're doing is you're pushing people away from your product. You know? I don't read comic books because I want to fucking know about fucking politics, what's going on what side of the political spectrum. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I'm reading my comic book so I don't have to hear about that bullshit.
You know what's funny as hell is me and this guy up at work, right? And
Mhm.
I say this because it's relevant to the conversation, but he is a
Go
gay
for it.
black man. And
Mhm.
we were talking about the shows. We were talking about both the Netflix and the Disney Plus shows, and we were saying, okay, what's your top? And like his top, I think was like Loki, even though he's really like he and I are both on the complete opposite sides of the She-Hulk argument. And like I'm not in favor of it. He thinks it's just fantastic.
It's
And but like Loki was his favorite, and like for me it was Falcon Winter Soldier, and then again on the other ones for him it was Daredevil, and for me it was Luke Cage, and we both started talking about our bias because when I first bought comics, I got a like 3 for something deal, and one
yeah,
of them was a Luke Cage comic.
yeah,
So that's like one of my very first fucking heroes, and
yeah,
uh, and he was talking about Daredevil being one of his earliest comic book heroes, and so we're talking about our bias, and we're just on completely racial opposites. He's picking the Irish guy, and here I am, the Irish guy, picking the black guy because that
yeah,
was our childhood hero.
yeah.
It's
And
total
this also
fucking
goes,
opposites.
yeah, and that goes to prove that point where when it comes to comic books and shit, nobody likes a comic book character because the character looks like them. That always proves that argument. Like I could debunk that fucking argument all the goddamn time because I mean one of my favorite superheroes, Spider Man. Spider Man, for the simple fact that he's a very relatable fucking character. You know, and plus his rogue gallery, Jesus Christ, where do I even start with the rogue gallery?
And I
You
mean,
know?
and here's one thing, like this always comes into play when they're talking about Riri, when everybody's talking about you just hate strong black women. I'm like,
Mhm.
Marvel's like top chick is Storm.
Yeah, I
Like
was gonna say I would kill that argument super fast.
Yeah, like Storm is
Like,
everybody's favorite. Don't try and say it has anything to do with them not liking this. Like Storm is beloved. I've never known
yeah,
anybody who doesn't like Storm. I know people who don't like Holly Berry's Storm.
yeah. Because if anything, I'll tell you the difference between between Storm and Riri Williams. It's simple. Storm is just a badass character with a badass personality. She don't take shit from nobody, and when it's time to take charge, that woman takes charge. And not only mention when she's vulnerable, she shows her vulnerabilities, she shows her fears, and how she overcomes her fucking fears. And not only that, she's even proven that she can whoop somebody's ass without her fucking powers. Difference between her and Riri Williams is Riri Williams has the personality of a paper cup. Do I need to say any more than that?
Not really.
I mean, if I'm off base on that one, please let me know. Let me know if I'm off base on that one. Because I read like a couple books on freaking with Riri Williams, and let me tell you, man.
Hello, Miss Nova.
Yeah, yeah, it just wasn't good. The character character didn't hit for me. And like I said, I'm not gonna knock anybody that likes Riri Williams. If you like her, hey, that's more power to you. I personally just don't give a fuck for the character.
But
You
if you
know?
notice, she has like way more fans, like literally as of just the past couple months.
Oh yeah, that's because the only reason she has more fans is because one, they announced she was gonna be in the fucking Black Panther movie, and two, because they announced she was gonna get her own fucking show, and without people even having any knowledge of the fucking character. Matter of fact, you remember that one day when I was on Facebook and I got into that huge fucking debate with that fucking dude about Riri Williams being a popular character, and then he
Right.
tried to turn around and say that people that didn't like her it was because they were racist. I was like, no, you stupid fuck. Like, you're a fucking moron. Riri Williams is just a shitty fucking character. Because by that logic alone, Storm would not be like a top favorite X-Men character, let alone top favorite Marvel fucking character.
Well, and
Like,
also,
by that logic, and only that, but by that logic, Monica Rambeau would not even be a popular fucking character like she is right now. By that fucking logic. Same with Luke Cage, fucking Black Panther. Do I need to continue?
think about like back when, like during the '90s, when Marvel was really at its peak, when comics was at its peak. Like, dude, they would just throw a million and one characters out there, and like I still have the battling Banta in the Mylar with his card, and he's probably his like one of maybe three appearances max in all of comics, because they would just throw all these crazy characters out there. Whichever ones landed, landed, and the ones that
Yep,
didn't faded away. And now
exactly.
it's like they put this one out there and they just keep shoving it down people's throats.
Yep.
And that's why so many people are still resentful about Captain Marvel.
And Miss Marvel. Because how many times did both of those characters get a reboot on their book? Like, let's put it like the way I look at it is like this: if you got your book rebooted more times than Spider-Man within a span of like what 3 years, that's pretty telling that your fucking character is fucking trash and it's not resonating with people. Because technically, when Spider-Man gets a new title, it's not a reboot. It's just a new fucking title telling different stories. But when you have the same book get rebooted multiple times, yeah, that's a sign your character is trash, and you should either do something different with the character, or just stop promoting the character and just put her on one of the Avenger books or some shit. You know?
Right. And it's like, think about how many X-Men just faded into the background over the years. Like, if you don't work, you don't work. It's
Yeah,
not it used to not be the biggest fucking thing ever.
yeah,
And sometimes characters don't get their due until another writer picks them up 8 years later, and not even
exactly.
meaning to. Like, so yeah, dude, I don't like the that fucking push, and I think that there's gonna be the new fans who accept it willingly.
Mm,
And but the thing is, I always wonder, where the hell were y'all during when the sales were needed?
yep,
Like how many,
exactly.
like, has Riri ever made it past 12 issues?
My
That I
point exactly. That's
that
the
I
one.
know of, she has never made it past 12 issues. And it's
Exactly.
like, so where the hell were you? And it's not every argument against this character, especially this character. It's like this character is just hated for a fucking variety of reasons, but these internet people who watched a comic story and video on her have they've deemed it their next crusade, I suppose.
It just goes on to what one person was saying is like Young Ripple was saying is like a lot of these people being up in arms about these comic book characters or just really any character in general that I wouldn't even narrow it down to just comic book characters. I would just say any fictional character in general. They'll try to go to bat for this character or whatnot, but yet you're not out there you're not supporting the shit by buying the shit.
Right.
So why the fuck are you up in arms about it if you're not out there buying the product? Make the shit make sense. Like it's like, for example, with me, if I go to bat for a comic book character, that's because I actually buy the fucking comic books. I actually buy the merchandise. You know, like with Batman, I've bought plenty of the video games. I bought plenty of the fucking books. So if like anybody were to say some shit about Batman, I'll be like, dude, what the fuck are y'all talking about? And just like if somebody says some shit about movies, certain characters in the movies, if I'm defending a movie, that's because I'm gonna go watch the fucking movie. Like the fuck, I'm
Oh
not gonna
man,
try. Yeah, like I'm not trying to defend this shit if I'm not even gonna go watch it. The fuck?
talking about Batman. Remember last time you were telling me there was supposed to be a new Batman Beyond series coming out? When I
Apparently,
finally looked when I finally looked into it, they had everything from 2 to 6. 6 had just come out, but they didn't have 1. And so I had to make the decision, do I really want to fucking go through the trouble of tracking this thing down? And I'm like, you know what? DC's been screwing up with me enough. As much as I love Batman Beyond, I'm just gonna put this down.
yeah, I mean,
And
it's bad enough DC is about to do another reboot.
yeah, so I just as much as and dude, I fucking love Batman Beyond, but I had to leave it alone.
Yeah, I don't blame you, dude. Like, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like hit or miss now. So I feel you on that, man. Like, I'm
It's
not
that
even.
it's that old blues song. I can't quit you, babe, but I got to put you down for a while.
Yep, I feel you on that, man. I feel
It's
you
like
on that.
because I'm a DC guy, man. I fucking love those characters more than anything, and I think the cartoons are doing great jobs. Most of them are. Um, of keeping the tradition alive, but
That's facts.
but
That's
you
facts.
with the this Robin cartoon coming out and them pushing their agenda as hard in this cartoon, you start to wonder, is the comic book, you know, a management style starting to bleed over to the cartoons? And it's like
Yeah,
how because like we talked about it last time that we thought uh which is for whatever fucking reason canceled, but Young Justice I think handled most of their messages pretty well and did a good job of putting the story first.
yeah, yeah. Like, I can agree on that aspect, but it's like at the same time, I think it's getting to a point where everybody's hitting fucking fatigue when it comes to a lot of the with a lot of the PC culture. It's everybody's hitting a fucking fatigue with that shit. And I think that's what this is a response to it. Like with the whole shit with the Little Mermaid, I think this is a response to the whole thing of people trying to say, we're tired of this fucking PC shit. We just want our characters the way that they are. Granted, I have no issue with like my reason I don't have an issue with Haley Bailey playing Little Mermaid because I mean she sounds like fucking Ariel when she sings anyway. So I personally don't give a shit. Curtains up. I
I
personally don't care. You know?
I had a pretty strong issue really up until the last few days. Like I because for all the reasons I already listed, I just thought it was a decision made in poor taste. But at the same time, like seeing all this bullshit, it's just like it makes me not necessarily want to support it because I wouldn't have wanted to see it even if it was a white actor. If we're being honest,
I mean,
um,
yeah,
I'm
I'm probably gonna end up seeing it because the girlfriend wants to go see it. So at that point, I can't back out
right.
of that. I got a choice. I don't have a choice. I gotta watch it anyway because of the girl.
And you know what? If my wife wanted to see it, I'd like that's where we'd have to be. Like whatever.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah,
have a
I mean,
choice.
as many times I drag my girlfriend to an MCU movie, it's only fair. So I can't even be mad if she wants to go watch The Little Mermaid. I can't be mad. I gotta go watch it.
Well, see,
I
my
gotta.
wife makes me wait on the MCU stuff for her. Because like
Yeah.
there have been times when I've wanted to go see it the day it comes out. She's like, "But my day off is Monday," and I'm like, "Well, tough luck."
Okay, that's fair. That's
And,
fair.
and she just starts like getting all pouty, and I'm like, "Fuck, I'll wait." And so like I have to stay 100% off social media. Just I don't log into jack shit,
Yeah.
and until I finally get to watch the movie. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have to drag her to shit necessarily. If she don't want to go, she just don't go. Like that's why I saw Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super by myself.
Yeah. But you know who I'm gonna blame for all this bullshit? And I'm gonna tell you right now, it actually no, it probably won't even surprise you when I tell you when I say who I blame for this. And I'm not gonna blame so much the fans for this. You know who I blame?
Hmm.
I blame Disney.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing
And
that I was
yeah,
texting you like if you're mad about the shit, it needs to be taken out on Disney, on the corporation, not on the fucking
agreed.
actor.
Exactly. That's something that you know, and that's something that I've always been a firm believer in, man. It's like when all these fans have this outrage, they have a tendency to blame the wrong fucking person. Like, stop blaming the fucking actors and actresses on this shit, bro. Take that shit to fucking Disney, dude. Like, take that shit to the actual like studio heads. Don't take this shit on the fucking on the freaking actress. Like
Yeah,
that.
and you know what they didn't, and it's fucking weird too because they didn't do it like this when what was that shit series that came out on Netflix? Cowboy Bebop. They didn't, as much as people didn't like. There were people who didn't like Jet Black suddenly becoming black. Like the no people weren't taking the rage out on the actor. Like the actor was relatively liked. The the series was announced that he canceled, like he posted
Yeah,
this thing that was well received and like heartfelt. Like I didn't see people treating him this way. So like, why is this the hill everybody's dying on?
I mean, but to be fair, he did play Bushmaster.
True.
He did play Bushmaster, so I mean, I don't think anybody wanted that smoke. I don't think anybody wanted that smoke from him. So yeah, I think that's fair. But yeah, dude. But yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Like, yeah, that's kind of funny. It's like if y'all didn't get this outraged about Cowboy Bebop, then it's very hypocritical that y'all are getting super outraged about this. And that's like really what I find funny about it is the hypocrisy behind this. You know,
Right.
it is very hypocritical. Like y'all, like I didn't see this. Like I saw some outrage with Resident Evil, but it wasn't nearly as bad as this. Like
Oh,
this shit.
but I'll tell you what other one was bad but wasn't publicized
Mm.
was the way they kept coming after the actor who was cast to play Red Sonja. And
What? I don't even know why. Why the fuck are they coming for her like that?
but the thing is, she actually quit, and they did replace her with a white actress. All these people
Oh,
feel like,
okay.
oh, we won. But here's the problem with that: if like all this happened and then the shit went into production, like, cause she quit just before production. So
Mhm.
they got the new actor, and she didn't even know her fucking script, and they're still scrambling to put all this together. And it's like, with all this going on, do you really think it was ever going to be good if they misunderstood the fan base and they misunderstood the character this bad? Did you think it was going to be good just because they replaced a single actor? And I'm
No.
waiting for this movie to come out and be terrible just to
Yeah.
prove that point, which sucks because she deserves to finally have a good movie. But
Yeah, and I hate to say it, the fact that you even pointed that out is like already very telling that that movie's gonna be dog shit. The fact that you even pointed that shit out, man.
I feel like that situation could have also emboldened people to like attacking the actor, makes the actor drop out type shit. But it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, like you're missing so many points in that, and it's just like it's a fucking awful way to be.
Yeah, and then like even right now, like here's what's funny is that what a lot of these people that were putting all these racist fucking memes and shit, which I did actually pin to the pin if y'all want to freaking check it out, see how bad those fucking memes were, because that shit was bad. Like it's too bad that I don't even want to fucking post it on here. You know, like that's how bad those fucking memes were. Like in like I said, I laugh at a lot of shit, but that was some shit I couldn't laugh at. None of that shit was funny. But anyway, yeah, it goes back to the fucking memes that are getting posted right now, where motherfuckers are doing freaking where they're race bending a lot of the movies and stuff. Now, and then there was one that I thought was that actually was very telling, and I think is a valid point with the Terry Crews as He-Man. And like what it says is like, if y'all keep fucking getting mad, y'all keep fucking around, we're gonna seriously do this shit. And you know what? I hate to say it. That's actually what's going to end up fucking happening when motherfuckers keep doing that stupid shit with all the dumb backlash. That's what's gonna fucking happen. So at that point, they're just gonna keep doing the shit out of spite.
Well, there's
And
always going to come down to the numbers too, though, because like,
mhm.
what was it? The going back to Cowboy Bebop, like
Yep,
those numbers started off really high on the first few episodes and just plummeted after that,
yep.
and that's why it
That's
was
what I heard.
canceled so quickly.
Yeah, I
And,
heard about how bad it was.
and so at the end of the day, all we can do is sit back and see what numbers this movie draws in.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to draw in better numbers than the Snow White,
Oh
definitely.
yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be like an absolute home run, but I think it's going to pull in good enough numbers because it's Disney. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
They're,
Facts, real Chase Bank. Facts. That shit was funny as fuck, man. Like you come on, you can't get no better than the fucking Terry Crews' fucking man. You can't get no better than that shit, man. Oh, and then also, I don't know if you've been seeing it online on Facebook with people where Kiki Palmer saying she wanted to play Rogue on X Men.
oh yeah, that's ridiculous.
I think like here's my thing. I think it could work, but but I'm still not 100% sold on it. I would rather see her as Storm than Rogue. That's just my opinion. Because I
Right.
feel like because for me, I feel like Rogue would be a downgrade for her, in my opinion.
Going back to what we were saying earlier, though, like about the Brandy thing, like a lot of what made that acceptable is because it wasn't a horse that had been beaten to death. And when it comes to the race bending thing,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to major characters, it's like it doesn't matter which of the major characters you think they are. To me, they're almost all in bad taste just because it's like it's the same bit, same number, and the fact that the character is almost always made black instead of Hispanic or
yeah,
especially Hispanic when we're like the number one minority in America, but we're still the
yeah.
most underrepresented, especially in the MCU.
That I have to agree with. Like I'm not that the numbers don't lie about that. As a matter of fact, I actually was seeing a post about that, and I've not only just a post on that, but I've actually went back and watched a lot of MCU movies, and I'm like, you know what? There's like I really don't remember seeing any Latino character in the MCU at all. So I
Right,
mean,
because
yeah, that's facts. That
it's
you're
the
gonna,
Ant Man sidekick who tells the funny stories.
yeah,
Um,
that's about
it
it. That's really the only
it's
memorable character.
it's the guy who's about to become Falcon in
Yep.
Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
Um,
that one I'm not even tripping on. Like at first I was, but I'm like, you know what? I don't even really care because how many Latino characters are in the MCU right now?
America Chavez, which I will say I hated America Chavez in the comic books because she really wasn't, in my mind at least, Hispanic. She was just some weird, off the wall, other dimension alien thing
And her
that
character was low key kind of
identified
trash too.
as Hispanic versus the MCU version. She's just a Hispanic from another fucking universe. Like, so
Yeah.
she's legit Hispanic, and like that to me brought the character to life finally. Like so I enjoyed that character way better in the movies than I did in the comics.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say that right now. Like, I think she was done way better in the movie than she was in the comics. Because in the comics, she's just a dog shit of a character. I'm just gonna be honest about that. Her character is dog shit in the comic book.
but the actor was great. She fucking loved playing the character. She did such a great job of it. So like, yeah, dude. She won it over. I think she's one of those actors that helped win that character over for me. But so like the Hispanic representation is getting better, but I mean think about over in the Venom verse how they had like the guy who was one of the toughest badasses over in Sons of Anarchy slash the Mayans. Suddenly he's just a desk guy talking about, come on Eddie, I need my job, get out of here.
Yeah,
Like
that shit was dumb.
talk about a fucking downgrade, man.
Yeah. And I like that actor too, man. I
Yeah, he's
like that.
great.
Emilio Rivera, yeah, that dude's a badass actor. I like him. But yeah, but no, I see your point with that, man. But yeah, I honestly do agree. Like,
I'm gonna throw.
that's what I always, this is what I always say. Like, if you're really gonna be about diversity, inclusion, all that shit, really be about it. Don't just say it just for a cash grab. And one thing that I always will note: diversity inclusion does not mean taking an existing character and bending the race. That's not diversity. That's not real diversity inclusion. If you're really gonna really be about it, why don't you just create another character that pretty much is a representation of that? Pretty much if you create a new character, that's showing you're being diverse and you're being inclusive. If you just create a new character. You know what I
That's
mean?
what they.
Would that be fair?
Well, that's what they did on one of those cartoons with Reptile.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Reptile, dude, I fucking loved Reptile. Like his character was fucking badass on what was it, Superhero Squad?
I think so.
Yeah. I actually liked his character. I don't know,
I like.
did they ever bring him to the main Marvel universe? I don't remember if they did or not.
I feel like there because I was watching what's that streaming thing? Heroes Like Us, and I
Yeah,
feel like they may have shown a comic book image of him, so it's possible.
yeah. So I don't
But I could
remember.
also be misremembering.
Yeah. Because basically it was like he was like Beast Boy. Only difference is he was able to mimic dinosaurs.
And he could mix and match too, whereas
Yeah.
Beast Boy has to do just the one thing.
Yeah, so I think I think if he were to go against Beast Boy, I think he would kick Beast Boy's ass,
I don't know,
possibly.
man. Beast Boy's got a lot of experience though.
But then again, I forgot with Beast Boy, it's not limited to just Earth animals too. I forgot about that, so I gotta let me step that back a little bit.
But
Let me pump the brakes and put that in reverse just a little bit, cause I think I freaking went over the fucking line with that one.
yeah, Beast Boy suddenly becomes a space dragon.
And then at that point, you just can't do shit. Especially if it's a fire breathing space dragon, you're fucked.
But also, I think there are some versions that imply he can only do that when he's around that kind of shit.
Yeah, because I think he has to see the animal first. Kind of like whenever, like when you see, kind of like he has to imprint on the animal before he can transform into it, which actually makes a lot of sense. I think that's how his ability works. I don't know. I gotta look more into Beast Boy. I didn't really paid that much attention to Beast Boy, but from what speaking of Beast Boy, man, I don't know if you heard, but in the new season of Titans, Beast Boy's actually gonna get his own like story arc for character development.
I've only seen like the first 5 episodes.
It's actually pretty good. Surprisingly, Titans is not too bad. The second season was fire with
I mean,
fucking Deathstroke.
I'm trying to get myself geared up towards it because it's like I still think that like they should have made like the thing that hung me up about the whole thing is Starfire should have just been a fucking Tamaranian
Yeah,
instead of
not that I agree. That one I'm not.
young Whoopi Goldberg.
That, you know what? I'm not even gonna argue with you on that one. That one I kind of actually agree with you on. I agree with you on that a little bit. But at the same time, the girl that plays Starfire, she's bae. But anyway, moving on. Don't let my girlfriend hear that shit because she gonna beat my ass. But anyway, yeah, man. But I did like the actress that does play Starfire. She actually does a pretty good job.
See, what got me into it is my wife had started watching it. I didn't give a shit, didn't give a shit, was kind of ignoring it. And then it got to the Donna Troy episode, and I'm like, I'm going to sit down. And at that point, I think at some point I went and restarted it, but I just don't remember where the hell I left off. You know, there's just so much shit that I've started, haven't finished.
Oh,
Some
bro.
stuff I'll forget all about, and just other times like you know, I'm drawing or doing shit on the computer, so I'm not able to really watch it, and so I just rewatch shit to where I don't have to watch it. I just have to listen.
Well, actually, but I was gonna say is this: wait till you get to the very end of the first season because they hint at another character that gets introduced, and then he becomes kind of a big character later on in the second season. But yeah, like I'm telling you right now, man, the second season, you got S.A. Morales as a Deathstroke, and surprisingly, like, dude, he's fucking awesome as Deathstroke. Like he's fucking awesome as Slade Wilson, dude. Like that was like the one performance I thought was gonna be lackluster, and surprisingly, it exceeded my expectations. But then again, you know, S.A. Morales, he's actually one of those actors. He's pretty. I think he's an underrated actor in my opinion. Yeah. For those of y'all that don't know who S.A. Morales is, if you ever watched La Bamba, he's the dude that plays that plays Richie Valens' brother. Just in case y'all don't know, just to provide context. But yeah, but yeah, for the most part, I just think when it just comes to the remakes, I think I'm just gonna keep it a buck with with a lot of fairy tale characters. I just think, you know, and this is just me kind of having a little bit of a change of heart. I think it is what it is with that. But I think Disney should just quit with the remakes. You know,
See, here's
and
my
that's
thing. I'm almost with you, but I'm also not with you because like I'm all right with remakes if they're creative, if you're doing something new with it, or but I also have, like I don't like the fact that I feel like Disney tends to shit on some of what came before, like when the fact that Buzz Lightyear of Star Command is still not available on Disney Plus. I
bro.
feel
That
like
is fucking criminal. That
I
is criminal within its fucking self.
like they want to sweep it under the rug in favor of this new thing, and I'm like, you can do both. People aren't stupid, they can understand, but I feel like they're afraid that people will compare it to this, and it's like if you're scared of your own creation, then like you've got a problem. Your new creation must not be shit if you're scared of this.
Cool. Yeah. All right, I'll be there.
and and I
Yeah.
think it's also telling the fact that the Aladdin series still isn't up there, which is one of the greatest series of them all, in my
Facts.
opinion. and
Facts.
And I think that, especially with in light of this Will Smith shit, that if they ever expect to get this thing off the ground, they have to do something pretty extraordinary. And to me, go back and look at watch those old cartoons and bring that shit to life. You know, because
Yeah.
you need to get out of the shadow of Robin Williams. Well, Robin Williams was never involved in the series. Instead of
No.
trying, because they were talking about just doing some random new shit. I'm like, don't do no random new shit. Do some random old shit. Like bring some of these characters, especially because like think about what was it, Sadira? I think her ability to be entered into the story maybe as somebody who is first taken advantage of by the one of the bad characters and eventually turns good kind of shit. Um, and there were so many bad characters, and there's that evil cat chick, you know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
when you there's like so much place for you to be able to get like women empowerment roles, blah blah blah, and all that shit, and bring in of color in the form of Sadira and various other characters. You can do all this naturally by just looking at what the fuck is already there.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
and exactly, and like
and
that's just kind of my thing is like a lot of times it comes off as forced, and one thing I've always learned with a lot of whether it's TV shows, movies, you know, stuff like that, when it's forced, nobody's gonna respond to it positively. They're gonna call the shit out.
oh, and there's also rumors around the bend talking about race bending that Rapunzel might be black. And like especially because this is such a new lore and like the series was so damn good that it's like we have a very specific idea of what Disney Rapunzel is because
Yeah,
it's all fresh and right there. That I'm kind of like, what is it? Eminem said, um, you're about as useful as Rapunzel with fucking cornrows." Like, I just
that
don't
is
need this
fucked up.
story, particularly
Yeah,
because
like
it's already been done. What was it? What's that series?
Once Upon a Time.
Rumpelstiltskin's the bad guy. Yes,
Yeah, Once Upon a Time. Yeah, that show is the shit. By the way, I don't give a
and
fuck what nobody says. Can't change my fucking mind.
yeah, good fucking series, badass Rapunzel, and it's like this has been done, and it's like doing this again just to be deliberate, to be obtuse. Like, we know
Yeah,
what you're doing, and it's in bad taste. You
yeah,
think you're
and
you
you
think
know,
you're being brave, but you're just being an ass.
yeah, and I do also agree with your point, what you were saying about there's plenty of African stories that can be explored. Why don't we try to bring those stories and turn them into a Disney story? Why doesn't Disney try to explore that route? That I agree with. I think that to be honest, I think that would actually be kind of fire because there really are. Because now when I'm really thinking about it, there really are some African folklore stories that are actually really fucking good. That I think if they were to be explored a little bit more, you can turn around and give it that little Disney twist. Kind of give it that little spin to where you can actually produce that for the little kids. And I think kids would actually take to it. 'Cause, I mean, think about it. If they were able to do it with Moana, why can't they do that with any other African folklore? I mean, that's a fair point, right?
Right, and maybe instead of going straight live action, maybe they do cartoon first.
Exactly. Yeah,
Whatever.
that's
But
what I meant by that with the Disney spin. Go with cartoon first, and then if it takes, go live action.
like I said, I'm not 100% shitting on the idea of remakes. I'm just saying they can be done in a way that's new and fun. Now that Aladdin 1 is done and out of the way, number 2 can go some badass places if they let it and if they respect what came before.
Yep.
Uh, and then going back to, I think that Black Cauldron is going to be pretty fucking cool. And in terms of remakes, consider this. Tell me how you would feel about an official Disney, this time under the Disney title, live action Anastasia.
Yeah. Oh, by the
Don't
way, hey, I gotta do a special salute to my boy Straight Talk. I appreciate you coming through, brother. We appreciate you coming through, man. But yeah, go ahead, Johnny. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, because like everybody kind of, I think a lot of people would kind of misremember Anastasia as being Disney, and ever since the merger with Fox, it's kind of sort of technically a Disney princess. But what if they finally made it official? What if they were to bring like Thumbelina or Anastasia to life in a live action way? Especially because like Thumbelina has a lot of great background characters to where you can get a lot of good diversity characters without fucking up the main character.
Agreed.
And Anastasia, like she's Russian. Like, come on, don't she's a historical character. Don't fuck around. But I feel like that story can be told in a badass new fucking special effects ridden fucking way, and I think people will accept it because it's like she's officially becoming a Disney princess, this thing people have wanted to be a thing for so long. And it's
Yeah.
like think out. That's why I'm just like, I really wish, like, Disney has so many great creatives, and I'm like, how have none of you thinking this far outside the box? And I sometimes wonder if it's because it's like that shit comes from too far up, and those guys just are the money
Because
fucks.
it's too much work. That's why a lot like something I've noticed, and this is just something I've noticed not just with Disney. I've noticed it with comic books. I've noticed this shit with cartoons. I've noticed this with TV shows. I've even noticed it with movies. Is that a lot of these writers are lazy. They don't want to take the time to be creative and create something new. Only thing instead they want to try to go ahead and quote unquote reinvent the wheel when they're not really reinventing the wheel. All you're doing is you're spinning the exact same fucking wheel. Only thing is you're giving it a different paint job at the end of the day. So you're not really doing anything creative or different when you really think about it. All you're doing is you're recreating the same wheel, just different paint job. That's all it is. And I think we need to get more people that are actually creative, taking the time to actually create new characters, like new original fucking characters with a new original story. It can be done. It can be done.
My
I don't
Hero
see.
Academia did it.
Yeah, exactly. My Hero Academia freaking turned around and reinvented the superhero fucking wheel. It is basically like an anime version of the fucking X-Men.
Dude, and I keep trying to get my friend into it on that basis, and he's just not biting because like, he loves the fucking X-Men and he likes anime, and I'm like, bro, it's anime X-Men, like you're gonna fucking love it. But
That's
he's
pretty
just
much all it is, dude. That's all My Hero Academia is just anime X-Men, bro. That's all I've been trying to tell people to get them to watch that shit. It's like it's just anime X-Men. All it is, anime X-Men. Like and even then that show's straight fire. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. My Hero Academia is fire.
oh dude, here's how much I love it because you know how I feel about this subject. So this is gonna tell you something. When
Mm,
it comes out, I'm not gonna wait for the fucking dub like I normally do. I'm gonna be reading the subtitle things like as they come out.
yeah,
And I cannot stand the like sub anime people like the snobby like they're somehow better because they read cartoons. I'm like, if you want to read, bro, go buy the manga and actually support your creators. I'm trying to watch my fucking cartoons, and but I mean that's how I grew up with my fucking anime. And like, to me the snobbishness comes from back in the day when there was a limited amount of anime available. If you wanted extra anime, you had to do the fucking subtitles. But
yep,
now there's so much that you don't have to do that anymore. But because these kids read about these old schools being like the true nerds, whatever, because they read it, now that's become like the snobbish thing to do. And I'm
yeah,
like, and I've had some people who have legitimate like there are some like where they only watch select ones because they basically think the voices are funny. I've seen one guy who he says that he started watching Dragon Ball Z in Spanish, so when he moved over to English, like Vegeta's voice just fucked with him. He couldn't do it, so he
yeah.
started watching it in Japanese. And also, there are times when, like me, where I'm like, dude, I can't wait. This series is too fucking good. I need to see it right fucking now.
And
But
straight fuck facts, fucking
but
facts.
also, I'm like, I like to watch something for the first time twice. And what I mean is I get pretty drunk the first time, so I'll forget like towards the end of it, I'll kind of forget a lot of shit. And so a couple months later, I'll go back and watch it again. So like I'm gonna get hammered at each episode, and I'm gonna have a good time. I'm gonna enjoy it, and then I'm gonna forget it. So when it comes out in English, I get to enjoy it again.
Yeah. That's what I did with Dragon Ball Z. I did that with Dragon Ball Z. I did that with what's that fucking anime? Saint Seiya. That's what I did too. I originally watched both of them. Well, originally I watched Saint Seiya in Spanish, then I watched it in Japanese. And with Dragon Ball Z, I watched it originally in Japanese the entire way through before Funimation got their hands on it. You know, and I like both. Like when it comes to anime, I'll watch it either or. I don't give a fuck if it's dubbed, if it's subbed. I don't care. Like if that anime looks like it's straight fucking fire, I'ma fucking watch it.
But see,
Period.
my other issue too is I'm always doing shit. Like I'm either I'm fucking around on the computer or just like I'm one of those guys who always has some kind of project going. So like
Yeah,
I enjoy shit where I don't have to keep my eyes on it every single second.
yeah,
And that's also why I'm a rewatcher of a lot of things where I'll pick up an old series that I've seen twice before, and I've had to teach myself to not watch certain ones more than a few years apart.
yep. I'm the same way, man. Like there's some anime I can still go back and watch, but I can't watch it like a couple months in between. Sometimes I gotta give it like a 1 year, year and a half gap, and then I can go back and watch it again.
Like I'm so close to being able to watch Death Note again. I'm so close, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, nah, I feel you, man. Like, I don't know. Me personally, like I watched. I tried to watch Death Note. It just wasn't for me. That's okay because not every anime is for everybody. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
know I'm trying to get into what was he Gundam Unicorn. Like that's one of those ones I have to I have to watch sporadically. Like I can't just continuously keep watching it back to back. Like I have to give it at least about a year and a half before I go watch it again. You know?
See, I couldn't get into Unicorn. I liked Iron Blooded Orphans.
Oh, Heart of Blood Orphan's fire. That's fucking. That one is fire.
But I'm also just partial to most things Johnny Young Bosch does too.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair because Johnny Young Bosch, when it comes to voice acting, that dude, he's one of those guys. Like next to fucking Matt Mercer, Troy Baker. So that's fair. That's 100% fair, bro. But yeah, man. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to get my girl to work. Do you have any final thoughts, man?
You know, I'm just gonna say this: that like the amount of ridiculous hatred that got pointed at this person's way just made me like my level of give a shit in regard to this just dropped
Mm-hmm.
all the way to zero. Like I went from being on like well into rally against this to where now I'm not in favor of it, but I give zero fucks to argue it or fight it. I'm like because I don't want to be seen as one of those fucking people. So it's like your bullshit isn't working. It's just making yourselves feel better. It's just a circle jerk, and it's pathetic. So I think that this the movie's gonna come out better because of the hate.
Yeah, I agree. I think all they did is they just basically helped boost. They just helped boost the sales of the movie.
Which is unfortunate too, because like that's the whole reason that they make these decisions to begin with, and it's like they shouldn't be rewarded for it, but at the same time, it also sucks because ultimately the actors are being punished for it.
Yeah, and that's fucked up.
And then
But,
there's other times when they punish the wrong actors for fucking no reason at all, like when everybody went after what is it, Reva, uh, yeah, when they went after her on Obi-Wan, it was like for no fucking reason. Like there's no reason that character couldn't have been any fucking. You literally could have just picked out of a hat whatever fucking color actor that were going to be. It would not have mattered. This character didn't exist before.
yeah,
And I just like there was no reason to be upset about anything other than oh my god, black person, wah.
yeah, and I
Like
thought
fuck.
that was a little disingenuous too. I thought that was very disingenuous for people to get pissed off about that. But I
Yeah,
get it, man.
so it's like yeah, it sucks that the actors are suffering. It sucks that the studios are winning, but it is what it is. At least we got a good episode out of it.
I feel you, man. But hey, man, I do appreciate you stopping by as usual, man. You're always welcome to come on the show, get it, man. And on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. Y'all be safe. Have a good one. And I'll see y'all later on the live stream, on my video game live stream. Till the next time, y'all be safe. Peace.
Later.